On the blue star, this is not the Earth. Although the human civilization has developed into the starry sky area, human beings and the native aliens, as well as the extraterritorial world, are in a tense state of war all the year round. In the past, there were extraterritorial creatures that flooded into the blue star. The entire human race was a soldier. Everyone fought against the foreign race and finally defeated the foreign race. It is only now that stability has been restored, but no matter where it is, strength is the eternal truth. In addition to the advanced civilization of the human race, martial arts progress is also particularly rapid. The entire country's colleges and universities have begun to emphasize martial arts and light literature. Every student hopes that he can be strong, become a character, honor his ancestors, or pursue longevity and live forever in the world. In a classroom that is over 1,000 square meters wide, there are surging crowds. I don't know what the result will be, it's so stressful. A little tall, thin, and handsome, Chen Feng took a deep breath. He held a white test ticket in his right hand, trembling slightly because of nervousness in his heart, and his dark eyes stared at a white cylinder measuring 1 meter long in the room. The stone of, there is no confidence in the heart. The pupils of his eyes reflected the faint white halos occasionally emitted by the power stone, and there were many thoughts in his head. He is a transmigrator. Strictly speaking, he was reincarnated. Now he is 16 years old. It's a pity that there is no sign of awakening the martial arts, nor any powerful innate body, nor any system. Chen Feng has always believed that he is a product of the three nothings in transmigration. In the human race, the average student starts at the age of 16, the body begins to mature, and the soul power is born, so many people start the test at this age and awaken. It's best to have an attacking spirit, a very powerful one, so that I can become a strong one. Chen Feng thought to himself. At this moment, there are many people watching outside the window. Even if they are not here to participate in the test, they will come to watch the fun. They want to make friends with people with martial arts so that they can get some protection in the school. There are many people in the periphery, and there are actually more than 100 people who really came to awaken. In fact, there are more than 60,000 classmates in Zhangzhou district of the same age as Chen Feng, and it is not too few who can gather so many martial spirit awakeners. Look, the teacher is here. A classmate looked at the door of the classroom. In the distance, a female teacher with bright eyes slowly came in from the door. She is young, but her face is serious. People call her a cold-blooded teacher because she is rarely seen smiling. There was a strong fluctuation around the teacher's body, as if a heat wave was transpiring, attracting everyone's attention. This aura. It's a cold-blooded teacher. I'm so envious. If one day I can reach the teacher's level, I'll be awesome. The students around were talking. Some students looked at the female teacher's figure, their eyes almost couldn't move. He didn't know how strong the teacher was, but he must be very big, ahem, he was older than them. Silence. The female teacher said slowly. This plain voice, in the ears of everyone, was like thunder, and everyone consciously quieted down. Now, start the awakening test. The person who called the name comes over. Follow the teacher's words. A staff member read according to the list, Zhang Shiran, come and test. In the room, a girl walked to the stage in an uneasy mood. Let's start. Okay, teacher. Zhang Shiran stood quietly, then placed her hand on a power stone. Then, the air buzzed, and a white energy ball swayed, sending out a faint light that entered Zhang Shiran's body. Above her head, a vague light group soon appeared. Hum. As time passed, a high-pitched chirping of birds suddenly came from the depths of the light group. A flamingo with red wings, gorgeous and bright, appeared like a firebird reborn from ashes, and the terrifying aura spread out and enveloped the entire room. This is her martial soul. When it appeared, everyone felt a scorching heat, as if they were in a sea of fire, ready to be burned at any time. This scene instantly caused quite a stir in the audience. Is this an aggressive bird? If I'm not mistaken, this is the Fire Feather Divine Bird. Fire Feather Divine Bird. Seeing this, the female teacher next to her looked at Zhang Shiran, full of admiration. Only this kind of thing can make the teacher smile. Fire Feather Divine Bird, is it a race ranked in the top 100? I read in the school books that this is a natural flaming bird. When it preys on food, its body can burn flames, and the flames of adulthood can destroy cities and destroy mountains and rivers in 1,000 miles. It is rumored that such a divine bird lives outside the realm. It has appeared on the battlefield and killed many strong people. Tisk tisk, Zhang Shiran has developed. Even if they all possess martial spirits, this Fire Feather Divine Bird is also the top martial spirit. Who would have thought that such a terrifying genius, such a martial spirit, would be detected at the beginning of the test? In the history of the test, UU reading www.uuganshu.com is also extremely rare. Zhang Shiran, your martial spirit can rank in the top 100 among extraterrestrial racial creatures. Having such a martial spirit is enough to show that your ancestors have something to do with the Fire Feather Divine Bird. According to your talent, you can enter the special class. Are you willing? The female teacher had a smile on her face. It seemed that after Zhang Shiran tested her martial arts, her smile was never stingy. As a teacher, she is more aware of the horror of some geniuses growing up. Although Zhang Shiran is still very weak now, she will have great prospects in the future. I do. Zhang Shiran was trembling all over, and rosy cheeks appeared on her cheeks. The special class is the best class in martial arts, followed by the middle class, the general class, and the public class. The special classes are all focused on cultivating geniuses, they are highly valued, and the natural resources will also be skewed. Zhang Shiran felt the envy of everyone, and she also realized that today, she will change her life in the future. Well, leave first, someone will contact you later to arrange your whereabouts. Thank you, teacher. Zhang Shiran stepped back first while the crowd watched. The test continues. Afterwards, more than a dozen students took tests one after another, but the results were not satisfactory. Next person. The female teacher said. Everyone's eyes gathered again. As long as people who can awaken their martial souls can distance themselves from ordinary people, many people are looking forward to today's test, whether there are more geniuses. Chen Feng, it's your turn. As the words fell, Chen Feng in the corner suddenly focused his eyes, restrained all his thoughts, and became a little nervous. This is about his future destiny. He strode over, his face a little nervous. Hello, teacher. Teacher Su Bing nodded, put his hand on the stone, a burst of energy entered, Chen Feng also put his hand on it, the energy stone dispersed energy into his body, and began to test Chen Feng's martial spirit. Chen Feng was very nervous. His future destiny depended on this test. If the test is good, you can enter a good class and enjoy good resources. If the test is not good, it can only be regarded as a martial arts public class, and future cultivation will be even more difficult. Even Puban will do. The general class is much better paid than the general class. The large class is a class that does not even have a fixed classroom. The class is also a group class, and there is no chance to communicate with the teacher in detail. The general class has a fixed teacher, and you can get some explanations. After the energy contact, at this moment, a light group appeared on top of Chen Feng's head, just like Zhang Shiran just now. Everyone was looking forward to seeing what Chen Feng's martial spirit was. Why haven't you responded yet? Everyone wondered that the light group did not respond. At this moment, suddenly, next to the light group above Chen Feng's head, a second light group appeared. Everyone was stunned. What happened? How can there be two? However, it didn't end, and it didn't stop there. The third way. Fourth way. The fifth way. the 6th way, the 7th way, the 8th way, the 9th way. Finally, it stops when it reaches 9 in a row. What? The 9 light groups on top of Chen Feng's head made everyone in the audience empty their minds. Everyone's eyes were dull, staring at the 9 light groups above Chen Feng's head. How can that be? Even the female teacher shivered when she witnessed this amazing scene, and even sweated on her forehead. She herself is a strong magnetic field, and basically she is very calm, and will not be so gaff. But when she saw Chen Feng's scene, she broke out in a cold sweat in shock. This was not fear, but the appearance of Chen Feng's situation touched the legendary realm. 9 martial spirits, what concept? The more martial spirits, the stronger they are naturally, but the premise is that they are all powerful martial spirits. The high achievements of such people are simply beyond her imagination. She has never seen a genius with 9 martial spirits. This is a legendary figure, but in fact, in the history of the Great Xia Kingdom, there has been a strong man with 5 martial arts. With the title of God of War, this person is named Zhao Muiyun. 5 martial spirits are extremely terrifying, and now, in front of her is a person with 9 martial spirits. The female teacher took a deep breath. How to maintain inner peace? This Chen Feng, with such high talent, is simply creepy. Is that human being? The scene became restless. Soon, an old man got the news and came over. Seeing this situation, the white-haired old man's face was shaking. In Zhangzhou district, there are 9 geniuses of martial arts. The female teacher came over and said with great respect, "Principal, it seems that our school has a genius." The old man nodded and said solemnly, "Well, especially this kind of genius who can have multiple spirits at the same time, the body can easily accommodate energy, not to mention so many spirits. Even the genius in the Eastern Han district has only 4 spirits." Individual. The female teacher sighed. The principal's words made Su Bing even more shocked. Who would have thought that Chen Feng in front of him had 9 martial spirits at the same time? Even Han Dong's genius has only 4, but he actually has 9. The news of this genius is still from the headmaster's mouth, otherwise she wouldn't know. Great! The female teacher is very happy. The principal shook his head and suddenly thought of something. He has 9 martial spirits, but the strength of martial spirits is only one of them, and every one of them must be strong. Such a number is valuable. It is very rare to have multiple martial spirits, and it is even rarer if there are powerful martial spirits appearing at the same time. The reason why a genius in the Eastern Han district is a genius is that apart from his 4 martial spirits, there is another reason, that is, his 4 martial arts are 4 white tigers, the ancient white tigers, one of which is already superior in attack power, not to mention the 4 heads. So, he is a genius. If this student has half the potential of this genius, I will be content. While the old man spoke, he kept looking at Chen Feng. Although there is quantity, there must be quality, but the student in front of him, after all, is the one who gave birth to 9 martial spirits, which has never appeared in the history of the human race. An ordinary martial artist is stronger than the average person, not to mention Chen Feng who has 9 martial arts. Chen Feng in front of him is shocking and miraculous. The old man looked at Chen Feng and said, "Young man, don't worry, it was just tested that you have 9 martial spirits in your body, don't worry, we all have time, take your time." What? With his eyes closed, Chen Feng heard exclamations from the outside world and the voice of the old man. Knowing that he had 9 spirits, he was a little stunned. 9 spirits? Afterwards, he was very excited. No wonder why. I said that I had crossed over, why didn't I have a golden finger? So I have it, but it's not a system, but a martial spirit. At this time, Chen Feng's consciousness fell into a coma, and his martial soul had to continue to be activated. At the same time, in a high-level training room in Handong District High School, a young man sitting cross-legged was awakened by a message. Brother Zhonghua, just got the news that a genius has appeared in Zhangzhou district, possessing 9 martial spirits. He soon woke up. Zhonghua glanced at the text message, frowned, and then continued to sit cross-legged. There are 4 white tigers on top of his head, with patterns all over his body, his eyes are hideous, and he is extremely fierce. Zhonghua, a genius with 9 martial arts, appeared in Zhangzhou district. Are you still cultivating? A white tiger said. Haha, 5 more spirits than our masters. It's incredible. Another white tiger's eyes flashed humanely. These 4 white tigers are the white tigers of the demon clan. They are quadruplets. After death, they wake up and become Zhonghua's martial spirit, obeying Zhonghua. The third eldest white tiger sneered, martial spirits are often used for shit. A group of waste spirits, with 9, is useless. The 4th child was surprised, the 3rd child, don't be too condescending to be a tiger. Have you forgotten how we died before? It's because you underestimate the enemy. The 3rd white tiger felt a little guilty, but roared, why do you keep talking about this matter? Since we woke up, you have been talking about this matter every now and then, and you are always exposing my scars. Are you happy? 4th child, I just warn you, don't underestimate the enemy. Now we as Wuhan, Zhonghua is the master, don't cultivate his character of underestimating the enemy, otherwise, we will never be able to wait for the day when we can condense our bodies and come back to life. Do you understand? Zhonghua, if there is an accident, we will all die. Okay, stop arguing. Zhonghua opened his eyes. The 9 martial spirits are indeed very powerful, but awakening is very important. If all awakened are ordinary martial spirits, it is useless. You can crush any one of you. If there is time for quarrels, it is better to think about what to do. Against the Eucharist. The human race has the holy body, which is comparable to the top 10 physiques in the heavens and the world. Such geniuses are worthy of my attention. The master said yes. The 4 phantoms nodded in succession. At this moment, in the room, Chen Feng's consciousness entered a vague space. In this space world, in front of Chen Feng are 9 phantoms. This is my martial spirit? Chen Feng was shocked to see so many shadows in front of him. From the rough image, it seems to be grass. No, it seems that they are all trees. This is my martial spirit, all of them are trees, useless trees? I wipe. This joke, is it too much? During his school days, he had learned a lot about martial arts. In the heavens and the world, it seems that there are no strong people, and martial arts are trees. Martial spirits have millions of forms. I have 9 martial spirits. If you appear at random, it is impossible for all of them to be trees. Just a few beasts and birds, I will not be so mediocre, right? Also, are they all the same? Chen Feng's heart instantly cooled down. Forget it, having a martial spirit is better than having no martial spirit, so a tree is a tree. Chen Feng adjusted his mentality and walked towards the tree in front of him. As he got closer, he gradually became cautious and shocked. This tree doesn't seem to be an ordinary tree. The tree is only over 1 meter high, but it gives people a feeling of being tall and seems to have broken through the sky. The first tree currently has only hundreds of leaves, which are green, but each leaf is blooming with a shimmer, and there are even 2 seeds on it, blooming with a white halo. The second tree, which looked relatively strong, was only over 1 meter tall, but it had a strong vitality, as if in front of this tree, he possessed inexhaustible strength. The third tree was more eerie, with a faint blush. After looking at it for a long time, there was a feeling of being attracted to it. He quickly calmed down and didn't dare to look at it. The leaves are all red, and there seem to be many beauties smiling. He is the host, but it is hard to resist, the whole tree is round. The fourth tree, which is also green, has dense strips, and it looks a little strange. The fifth tree, also more than 1 meter high, flashed thunderbolts from time to time, making people feel very dangerous. As for the sixth tree, the branches and leaves seem to be connected to the void, and the branches and leaves have penetrated into the void, which is beautiful. As for the seventh tree and the eighth tree, it is just a shadow and cannot be seen clearly. As for the ninth tree, Chen Feng looked over and only glanced at it. Boom! Suddenly, the ancient bell-like sound resounded, a terrifying aura hit his face, and his consciousness fell into chaos. The entire sea of consciousness is distorted and has a tendency to collapse in an instant. What? Chen Feng was stunned. At this moment, he seemed to be torn apart and disappeared into the vortex. Do not. No. I can't look at the ninth tree, if it goes on like this, I will die. Chen Feng quickly shifted his attention. He felt that he was too weak to look at the tall black phantom. After resting for a while, he started walking towards the first one. Every step he took, as if there was a mountain pressing on him, making it difficult for him to walk. As he walked step by step, he finally approached. He looked directly at the first tree, and then a message passed into his mind. The Bodhi tree. It is rumored that this tree can improve people's comprehension. Such a divine tree has become Chen Feng's martial spirit. As long as Chen Feng displays his martial spirit, it can help him improve his comprehension, increase his learning ability many times, and make his comprehension ability beyond the reach of ordinary people. And as the tree grows, the power becomes stronger. Can I try the function of this tree? Chen Feng closed his eyes, and a low-level book on body forging appeared in his mind. This is to teach people to use different moves, postures, and basic exercises for body forging. Many things are easy to make mistakes without the teacher's careful explanation. In the past, when he remembered in his mind, he needed half an hour to straighten it out. Now, sitting under the tree, he started to reminisce, and quickly became immersed in it. It was only a few minutes before he opened his eyes, his mind was clear, and many things he didn't understand were easily solved. Things that took half an hour, in less than 3 minutes, he went through all of them. And there are many different perceptions. I go. Is this the end? This is too simple, isn't it? In the past, when I recalled these, I still felt unfamiliar, but now it is like reading 300 children's songs. Totally understand. Just this understanding will allow Chen Feng to achieve twice the result with half the effort in the next practice. With the same aptitude, a brilliant teacher explained that person will naturally improve faster. Chen Feng is so poor, how could he hire a special teacher to teach him? He can only rely on his own groping, but now, he has directly realized that he still needs a teacher. Invisibly, there is a large amount of expenses left for the cultivation journey. It seems that this enlightenment Bodhi is true. With this kind of martial arts, I will cultivate in the future with an unimaginable speed. Although it is not an attacking martial arts, such martial arts are more terrifying than attacking martial arts. Chen Feng was extremely excited. The first one was so powerful. How terrifying is the divine tree behind it? He looked at the second tree, and he walked towards this tree. However, the pressure was so strong that Chen Feng was stunned. Every step he took, the pressure on his entire body doubled, but he could feel that this second tree had a strong power. If this power was integrated into the body, it would be inconceivably improved. However, he couldn't get close. He tried to get close, the pressure seemed to crush his soul. Just when Chen Feng was reckless, an old man's voice came from outside, "Young man, don't be fooled, your cultivation base is too low to forcibly summon a second spirit, let's talk about it later." Chen Feng regained consciousness, sight and hearing. The students all around looked at him in surprise. Teacher Su Bing breathed a sigh of relief. "Chen Feng, the principal woke you up just now, and you almost got hurt just now." Chen Feng nodded and looked at it, but he didn't find the principal's figure, so he asked, "Where's the principal?" "The principal has left." Teacher Su Bing returned to her previous demeanor, serious and cold, and then said, "But the principal asked me to tell you that summoning a martial spirit requires a lot of spirit power. If the realm is not enough, summoning more than one may cause damage to the conscious brain. If it is more serious, it may become an idiot." Chen Feng was in a cold sweat. "So you got close to the second tree and got stressed out? In this case, other martial spirits can only talk about it later." "Teacher, then my martial spirit should have been successfully awakened, right?" Chen Feng asked. Su Bing nodded, "It was a success." Chen Feng asked excitedly, "Does the teacher know what my martial spirit is?" Chen Feng still doesn't know exactly what the martial spirit behind him is. If the teacher knows, it can relieve his doubts. Su Bing thought for a while and said, "Chen Feng, you must know that with a martial spirit, you are not necessarily strong, but you can walk a little less. In the human race, there are not many people with martial arts, you are already very lucky." Chen Feng felt that the teacher had something to say, and it was not easy to say. He asked, "Teacher, is there something wrong with my martial arts?" The teacher can say anything directly. Teacher Su Bing glanced at Chen Feng, "Okay, then, you did awaken your spirits, but you still have 9 spirits, but your 9 spirits belong to the plant series. You should know that the spirits of the plant series are of little value. I also checked just now, your plant martial spirit doesn't seem to belong to any race, it should be relatively common. In other words, your martial spirit is not as good as a normal beast soul, or other auxiliary martial spirits. Is relatively low." After the teacher said this, the crowd in the room started to discuss. The 9 martial spirits are all plants, so the probability is too low? Chen Feng actually hit this chance, he can just awaken anyone, hey! In my opinion, martial arts geniuses are not that easy to do. It's a pity that there are 9 martial arts. If his 9 martial arts, even if they are 9 ordinary beasts, together, they have great potential. Chen Feng listened to the discussion of the people around him, and probably understood that he knew before that this might be the result, and now it is more real. It seems that my martial soul does not belong to the race of the heavens, but these people should not know that although I am a tree martial soul, my martial soul is not ordinary. That's fine, no one knows my potential, so I won't be missed. In fact, this is a good thing. After all, this world is too dangerous. Among the many enemies of the human race, there is an organization specially set up to kill geniuses of the tribe. If such an enemy obtains information, it is very likely that they will come to hunt and kill geniuses. Of course, in the human race, the probability is not high, but too much fame may not be a good thing. Because outsiders seem to be ordinary martial arts, the school's principal sighed and left. Chen Feng knew one thing, these people didn't see any difference in his martial arts. His martial arts, even the first Bodhi tree, were not ordinary things. But from the outside, it was difficult to observe the appearance of the martial spirit that Chen Feng saw in the depths of his consciousness. Chen Feng has a feeling that his martial spirit is more terrifying than ordinary attacking spirits. Not to mention other trees, it is just the first Bodhi tree, which is of immeasurable value. Enough to crush all martial spirits. Hearing everyone's comments, Chen Feng was thinking, do you want to explain the extraordinariness of his martial arts to them? But think about it. Everyone believes in the truth, and no matter how much they say, it will not help, but will lead to some trouble. It is better to practice silently and speak with strength. Teacher Su Bing said at this time, Chen Feng, you are a martial artist now, but you are a plant-based martial artist, and your potential is not too great, so I will arrange you in the general class, would you like to? In fact, the teacher is also helpless. If only one of Chen Feng's martial arts is a beast martial arts, it will not be so bad. None of the 9 martial spirits have awakened any useful ones. This probability is really lower than the awakening of 9 martial spirits. Possibly, it was God's will. Even if she wanted to arrange a good class for Chen Feng, she couldn't find any reason or excuse to convince the public. This is a very realistic scene. Different classes have different resource tilts. The resources of the special class are not comparable to those of the general class, and they are not on the same level. Future achievements, in fact, are already doomed when they are divided into classes. Of course, there are also some surprises, the potential genius of opening low and walking high, but these are only a few. Genius, always a genius, is destined to be extraordinary. If ordinary people can surpass geniuses, then what do geniuses do? Chen Feng nodded, even the general class was better than the big class. Teacher, I am very willing. However, in the current situation of Chen Feng, he actually cares more about his own martial spirit. Well, you go down first, someone will contact you then. Teacher Su Bing nodded, as if she was still feeling pity for this child. Good teacher. Chen Feng didn't stop, and instead of watching the test, he went to the school's training room. When he left, no one came to say a word. The people around came here just to make friends with some geniuses, but when they saw Chen Feng leave, no one came. Chen Feng didn't mind either. After Chen Feng arrived at the training room, he found a separate small room. Since many people went to watch the test martial arts, there was an empty space here. The first thing he does now is to take a look at the effect of his Bodhi tree. Now I'm in the third stage of Qi and blood. I practice bodybuilding techniques and have a deeper understanding. Yu reading www.yuyuganshu.com can temper my body better. Try it out and see how it works. In the room, Chen Feng started to practice according to the body training technique he had memorized. It explains how to train the body, put on various postures, and train. At the 9th stage of Qi and blood, it is actually very difficult to improve each level. After all, if the poor's physical fitness wants to improve, they can easily hurt their bodies and backfire if they only rely on exercise and no supplements. Even with supplements, it would take ordinary people at least several years to reach the 9th floor, and now Chen Feng only has 3. It is said that a genius, at the stage of Qi and blood, can explore the existence of vitality, and use vitality as a supplement, which can be completed within a year. Many people with ordinary aptitude are in the Qi and blood stage all their lives. Chen Feng kept playing with all kinds of strange postures in the room. Some postures can train the muscles of different body parts to achieve the effect of tempering. Sometimes Chen Feng bends his fists sideways, pointing in one direction, and lifts his right foot up. He persists for a long time, and his body is covered in sweat. Maintaining this posture is also a powerful boost to his mental strength. Persistence, mental strength, and physical strength can be enhanced. Sometimes, Chen Feng squatted on the ground like a toad, but he was not exactly a toad. In short, he had to practice tricky postures throughout his body. Many people retreated at this level, because they were too tired. In the early stage, the human race was born with flaws. It is said that some races were born in the Neiwan realm, and they did not need to go through the process of Qi and blood at all. Chen Feng gritted his teeth and insisted, suddenly closed his eyes, and summoned his martial spirit. Chen Feng took a deep breath, and under the guidance of his consciousness, a tree shadow appeared behind him. This is his first martial soul, the Bodhi tree. With the appearance of the Bodhi tree, a breath unknowingly enveloped Chen Feng. Chen Feng immediately felt his spirit calm down and he was not so tired anymore. Various gestures kept popping up in my mind, and the body was constantly changing, sometimes fierce, sometimes gentle, even though it was raining down with sweat. As time passed, Chen Feng discovered that the posture was not very accurate before, but now it is easy to reach the most standard state. The understanding of body forging in my mind is also getting deeper and deeper. Not right. Chen Feng was cultivating, and suddenly he felt that there were many light spots between heaven and earth. You must know that when he was cultivating before, he could not feel any of them. What the hell? What? this little white dot, does it mean that I'm too tired from training? Chen Feng closed his eyes again and felt it carefully. Again? What's going on here? It wasn't like this in cultivation before, but what's going on now? No, could it be? Chen Feng was stunned and shocked. Could it be? Is this vitality? The teacher said that the vitality is white, and there are other colors, but it is extremely difficult to feel the ordinary white vitality at the beginning. What is in front of me is white, is it vitality? Impossible. How can I feel the vitality? The teacher said that even if you are at the 9th stage of Qi and blood, you can start to feel the vitality of heaven and earth, but it will take some time to open. In other words, it will take time to reach the 9th stage of Qi and blood. I am only at the 3rd stage of Qi and blood, so I haven't reached this standard at all. Only those few geniuses can feel the vitality at the stage of Qi and blood. How can I feel the vitality of heaven and earth? Chen Feng was shocked in his heart, and he felt it carefully, but it was true, he could feel the white light, and it was very comfortable. This. Chen Feng's whole body began to tremble, he was just being stupid, and he knew that this was definitely not dazzling. I really feel the vitality. Such a person is known at school and will be treated as a monkey. Think about it, others have worked so hard to reach the 9th rank of Qi and blood, and have just started to touch the door of vitality, my dear, but you immediately felt the vitality of heaven and earth, and began to absorb vitality, and Qi and blood also soared all the way? I heard that for those powerful races outside the realm, children can absorb the vitality of heaven and earth as soon as they are born. And I, as if through the influence of the linden tree, my spirit has become sharper. However, every time you summon a martial spirit, you need a certain amount of spirit power, so I consume a little bit of energy, but it can absorb vitality and save a lot of nutrient solution expenses. Chen Feng was overjoyed. You know, a bottle of nutrient solution in a pharmacy costs tens of thousands, and his family can't afford it at all. This is also the reason why Chen Feng cultivated so slowly. No money, really no way. But now, he can feel the vitality, and can make up for the defect that he is inferior to others. Hehe, it seems that I use my vitality to replenish my body, and soon I will be able to reach the 9th rank of Qi and blood. After a while, Chen Feng felt that the vitality of heaven and earth was absorbed and entered into his body. Damn it, so fast! Chen Feng's eyes widened. No, a drop of nutrient solution worth 20,000 is absorbed, and it's not so fast. These vitality are so fierce. Chen Feng clearly felt that his body muscles, tendons, and veins had all been injected with vitality and nourished, just like a dry river, which was nourished all at once, and the improvement was naturally fast. But what Chen Feng didn't know was that the vitality he felt was dense, and it had already reached hundreds of points at the beginning. Even those geniuses could feel the vitality, but it was only 7 or 8 small points. They can only absorb these small points, but even so, they are much faster than the average person. Even taking supplements, they can't keep up with this speed. Now, the vitality that Chen Feng feels, hundreds of points, is dozens of times that of a genius. If the teacher at the school knew that Chen Feng felt so much energy from the world, he would have dropped his jaw in shock. As he practiced, Chen Feng felt that the white light spots were continuously entering his body through his pores with him as the center. Soon, he rose from the 4th rank of Qi and blood to the 5th rank. An hour later, it was raised from Dan 5 to 6. In a short period of time, Chen Feng improved his cultivation by 3 stages. This is something I never dreamed of before. In fact, Chen Feng's training level, the high-intensity training his body has endured, has reached a certain accumulation. He gets up at 5 o'clock every morning and runs to school in a frantic state. In school, he would practice hard every day, but his body couldn't keep up. In fact, his foundation was already solid. Now, with the supplement of vitality, he directly broke through to the 6th stage of Qi and blood. His hearing and vision, even his sensitivity to smells, his sense of taste, have been improved with the strengthening of his body. He obviously felt a surge of anger going straight to his head, and he heard some subtle sounds that he couldn't hear before, and it felt like a whole new world. Chen Feng was extremely excited. Boom! He punched out, as if with the sound of wind, much stronger than before. The average student in the school is usually in the 2nd or 3rd dan. I am now in the 6th dan. Except for some geniuses, I am already in the top rank. Yu reading www.yuyuganshu.com. Hehe, I didn't expect that I had awakened 9 martial spirits, and the first Bodhi tree had such a magical effect. I am also a genius with extraordinary talent. God treats me well. However, one must be humble and low-key, ahem. Chen Feng guessed that it was getting late, so he went back to talk first. When he went back, he also heard the comments of the students around him. In this test, Zhang Shiran was the only genius. The rest are also good ones, such as awakened weapon spirits, or ordinary beast spirits, and some are auxiliary types. Of course, there were people talking about him all around, but Chen Feng turned a deaf ear, and he was very excited. After leaving the school gate, he walked alone on the street. Although the world here is very prosperous and there are many strong people, but because of the war, Daxia is allowed to have 4 and 5 children. If you have more children, you can also get subsidies from the state. Some couples, in order to get subsidies, will have 6 children. Only in this way can the people of the human race prosper, and can survive in the world of 10,000 races. There are many people, and the strong descendants will continue to export, in order to maintain peace. But the after effect is, it's too crowded. Some communities are so densely built that there is no park at all, and even some units are very small, less than 30 square meters. It is good to have this kind of community house, and some are small houses like bamboo tubes, where people can't see the sun all the year round. After there were too many people, the land was tense, so that was the only way. Owning a large house of 80 square meters here is simply the accumulation of several generations. Chen Feng passed through some prosperous high-rise buildings in the summer area. The houses there can see the sun, and they are 80 square meters or even 100 square meters. He is very envious of such houses, but unfortunately he is poor. Soon, he came to a place. This is a very crowded area. The layout of the community is 30 square meters, and the whole building is like this. After all, this area is not a place for rich people to live. He came to the 8th floor of a building, 30 square meters here, where his family lived. His parents, sister, and him were gone. My father's name is Chen Kuoxiang, my mother's name is Zhang Chun, and my younger sister, Chen Shuken, is 12 years old now. Besides, Chen Feng also has an older brother named Chen Wu, who graduated last year and joined the mercenary group. My brother is 21 years old this year, 5 years older than Chen Feng, and a martial artist of the 8th rank of Qi and Blood. As for why I went to the mercenary regiment, my family was poor, my younger siblings had to study, my old mother was sick, and my father was just an ordinary worker who needed money. And the house is too small, all 5 people are crowded together, which is very uncomfortable. Chen Wu originally wanted to go to the military, but he went to the battlefield outside the territory to kill the enemy. His cultivation was cannon fodder, so he could only go to the mercenary group to hunt down monsters. He was lucky, he could live longer, and he could make money. Brother Chen Wu is a more responsible person. Every month, 3,000 will be sent home. You must know that his mother does some idle work at home, and his father works in the factory, which is only more than 3,000 a month, and the family expenses are high. His elder brother Chen Wu, who is outside alone, can send 3,000 yuan a month, which is already a lot of money. Brother, come and help me. As soon as I came in, I saw my mother wearing an apron, busy with a little girl, and my sister Chen Shuken was cutting vegetables. Chen Feng smiled and said, I still need to practice. Chen Shuken turned around with a small white face, her dark eyes glared at Chen Feng. You're just lazy, don't want to cook, there's something else, what's the matter? It's a big deal. Chen Feng laughed. Chen Shuken pouted, and suddenly thought of something. By the way, the big brother has news today, saying that he has reached the 9th stage of Qi and Blood, and he came back after hitting 8,000 yuan this month. Manage 10 people. Have you reached the 9th dan of Qi and Blood? You've also been promoted. Chen Feng couldn't believe it. Dad was reading on the sofa. When he saw his son coming back, he greeted him and continued reading. But when he heard his daughter talk about this, he said with joy, well, Chen Wu is prosperous now, and he is in the 9th rank of Qi and Blood. I am more promising than your father. He is now in the mercenary group, and he is guaranteed to be a mercenary of 8,000. What about military expenses? So smart. Chen Feng was astonished. At his age, his brother was able to reach the 9th rank of Qi and Blood, which was not mediocre. He had a certain amount of strength. After the 9th stage of Qi and Blood, the body is strong, and can start to absorb the vitality of heaven and earth. Between walking and moving, there is the power of a demon tiger. It is not an ordinary person, and one person can block 100. Brother is so powerful, I can't let it go. Chen Feng said happily. Chen Shuken said, of the 8,000 yuan, 6,000 are for you to cultivate. He said that this world is too dangerous, and we have to have masters in our family. You are studying in the school and need this money. While speaking, Chen Shuken came over and gave Chen Feng 6,000 yuan. Chen Feng was dumbfounded, and his eyes were a little rosy in an instant. It is good to have a good big brother. Chen Feng thought of a handsome guy who often scratched his nose when he was a child. Although he often bullied him, he always kept the best and delicious food for him. Although my brother has average talent, but he is very hard-working, so after graduation, he also reached the 8th rank of Qi and Blood. Ordinary people graduated from 7th or 6th dan, but his brother reached 8th dan, and even went to the mercenary group in order to improve the situation at home. Because the younger brother and younger sister both have to study, it is difficult to maintain with the parents $3,000 per month, so Chen Wei went without hesitation. At the time, his parents were reluctant to live or die, but Chen Wu said that their family was poor and could not live at the bottom all their lives. Even if they died, he would have to provide for his younger siblings to go to school. Even if you don't have much prospects, at least you can have a good job after graduation, so you won't have no strength or diploma, and you will have a hard time in society. Naturally, my parents were unwilling. Chen Wu left without saying goodbye last year and couldn't stop him. But it's too dangerous outside, and all the money is earned with life. Chen Feng gave all the money to his family. Now he can improve even if he doesn't buy nutritional supplements. He might as well improve his life for his family. At this time, Dad gave Chen Feng a look and kept frowning. Chen Feng understood in seconds and coughed dryly, Mom, today there is good news from eldest brother, let's celebrate. Well, about your brother, it's worth celebrating, Shuken, take out the wine from the cabinet. Chen Qiuxiang said quickly, secretly laughing in his heart, it is rare to take advantage of this incident to drink. Mom said something, but today is a special day, so she didn't say anything. At this time, Chen Feng said, Big brother is working hard outside, but after a year, I can also make money, and then I will come for him. Our Chen family will not continue like this forever. The younger sister smiled and said, Yes, you are now in the 3rd stage of Qi and Blood, brother, are you going to laugh at me to death? With your strength, the mercenary group won't want you. Why can you hunt down monsters after a year? Many people have graduated from high school, but they don't have the 9th dan. If there is such potential, it is estimated that it is already 5 dan now. You are only 3 dan? Chen Feng smiled, this Don't worry, your brother and I have accumulated a lot of money. This Chen Feng is also ashamed. In fact, it is not his fault. The main reason is that other people's children have all kinds of supplements. Supplements are very important in the qi and blood stage. Otherwise, they will not be able to cultivate at all. The body is only consumed, without replenishment, it is difficult to strengthen the body, so as to perceive the vitality of heaven and earth. Accumulation, you have said it many times. Shuken squinted at Chen Feng. Chen Feng is so angry. That's right. Shuken suddenly said, you just said something big, what's a big thing? Chen Feng actually remembered, cough. Your brother, I tested it today, and I woke up. Chen Qiuxiang suddenly put down the newspaper, today the school has awakened its martial arts. Are you one of them? Yes. Chen Feng said with a smile. Then what kind of martial spirit did you awaken? Chen Qiuxiang was excited, even Chen Shuken and his mother gathered around. Chen Feng, don't ask me what martial spirit I am, just ask how many martial spirits I have. Ah? How many martial spirits do you have? Chen Qiuxiang asked curiously, aren't all martial spirits the same? Oh right, there are rumors that there are 2, 3, or even 4 geniuses. Is it? Chen Qiuxiang stared at Chen Feng, could it be that you are more than one? He was short of breath. If his son has more than one martial spirit, he is a genius. What is the concept of genius? That is a precursor to development, the school will focus on training, and in the future, I will be a master of the magnetic field. Whether it is at home or on the battlefield, it is not a low position. Chen Feng said with a smile, hey, I didn't expect that I actually have so many spirits. Guess how many I have? Well, forget it, let me tell you directly, I have 9 spirits. As soon as these words came out, Chen Qiuxiang, Chen Shuken, and mother were all stunned. Are you kidding me? 9 martial spirits? Your father, I have lived for decades, and I have never heard of anyone with 9 martial spirits. There are indeed 9 martial spirits. Real? Certainly. This. Chen Qiuxiang almost jumped up excitedly, my son has 9 martial spirits? What is this concept? 9? Chen Shuken's eyes widened in disbelief. I have never heard of 9 martial spirits. This is definitely a genius among geniuses. Is his brother a genius? Impossible? Then what is your martial spirit? Chen Shuken asked. Chen Feng touched his head, feeling a little embarrassed. Actually this is not important. Why isn't this important? This is very important. Martial spirits are also divided into levels. Brother, what is yours? Under Chen Shuken's questioning, Chen Feng could only laugh and say, my martial spirit is 9 trees. What? In an instant, Chen Qiuxiang, Chen Shuken and their mother were stunned. Are the 9 spirits all trees? Son, you're right, isn't this the worst kind of spirit? You still have 9. Chen Qiuxiang was dumbfounded. Although I don't know much about a lot of information, Wuhan still knows it. After all, those who have martial arts are geniuses. Now that their son has martial arts, they are very happy, but after hearing that it is a plant martial arts. Chen Qiuxiang sighed, if that's the case, even if his son has 100 martial spirits, all of them are trees, that's not lethal. In other words, no combat power. Why are spirit warriors respected? That is because of combat power, people with martial spirits are naturally much stronger, not ordinary people. But in the current situation, these 9 spirits are not as good as one beast spirit, which is a pity. Chen Qiuxiang sighed, as did Chen Shuken. The mother comforted, son, it's okay, you are a martial artist anyway, even if it's a plant series, my mother believes that you will become very powerful, even if it's not powerful, it's nothing, I just ask you to be fair. Anand's life is fine. I don't ask you to do anything. Don't be discouraged. If you want to be safe, you have to rely on strength. Without strength, the world is very dangerous. By the way, isn't our house small? Yes, what's wrong? Chen Shuken asked. It's nothing, soon, I can buy a big house for my family, and I don't have to squeeze in this small place. Chen Feng said. Pfft. Chen Shuken said to Chen Feng, brother, do you know the housing prices in our Zhangzhou district? The average price is 10,000 yuan. This is still a side-by-side place. What can we buy? What Chen Shuken said is quite right. The average price of Zhangzhou district is 10,000 yuan, and the center is 30,000 yuan, not to mention villas and the like. Now that the family is poor and poor, Chen Feng said that he would buy a house in the future? This kid, won't he be crazy? Chen Qiuxiang and his mother Zhang Chun looked at each other, a little worried. Chen Shuken smiled and said, it's okay, brother Feng is like this. He often talks about buying a house for our family. I always advise him not to put too much pressure on himself. Chen Qiuxiang sighed, if you had a great father, you wouldn't be under such a lot of pressure. It's a pity that your father and I are just an ordinary worker, and I don't have much ability. Chen Shuken, Dad, don't think like that. It's a great kindness to us that you can raise us. Brother Feng just wants us to live in a better place. I know. But then again, this kid has been talking about buying a house all day long. He didn't test out 9 ordinary martial spirits, did he get stimulated? No, Chen Feng, this guy is very nervous. He said that there is something that can stimulate him. When he was a child, he always grabbed my food and had a thick skin. Haha. Chen Qiuxiang and his mother laughed. Brother Feng, come and eat. The sister muttered. Chen Feng went to serve the rice. Shuken gave Chen Feng a white look, and handed over a big bowl full of rice. I'll make you a meal, eat it quickly. Chen Feng smiled, stretched out his hand and scratched his sister's forehead. I know Shuken is the best for me. Shuken curled her lips, her 2 small dimples were red, but said stubbornly, who treats you well? Mom asked me to serve you meals, otherwise I wouldn't. Humph. After speaking, he turned his head and ate the rice. Chen Feng knew that this was his sister's excuse, and he liked the family atmosphere very much. Chen Feng hurriedly finished eating and said with a smile, Shuken, I know that in your dreams, you want to have a big room full of anime dolls. For the sake of how good you are to me, within a year, I will fulfill your wish. After Chen Feng finished speaking, he returned to the room. Parents, Shuken, were all stunned, this child is really crazy. Parents began to worry about Chen Feng's mental problems, and whispered whether to take Chen Feng to a psychiatric hospital. In the room, a few hours later, Chen Feng opened his eyes, he had already risen to the 7th stage of Qi and blood. Now that he is familiar with the power of Wuhan, he can cultivate faster. The sensed vitality has also reached thousands of spots from a few hundred points. The next morning, at 4 in the morning, Chen Feng went out. Chen Feng found a park with fewer people and continued to improve. Early morning always makes people feel calm, because it is very early and there is no one here. He summoned his martial soul. Anyway, his martial soul is a tree, and others will not doubt it when they see it, let alone know what kind of tree it is. The world outside is a little more energetic than at home, especially in places like this with flowers and trees. As he cultivated, he was enveloped by the aura of the Bodhi tree, and he continuously broke through, from the 7th rank of Qi and blood to the 9th rank of Qi and blood. The speed is appalling. In fact, some races do not exist in the realm of Qi and blood. Chen Feng has the spirit of the Bodhi tree, so it is not surprising that such a speed. Even so, in the human race, this is the top talent. Originally, after reaching the 9th stage of Qi and blood, if you feel the vitality of heaven and earth, you will be able to absorb yuan. During this period, it also takes a little time to activate. Since Chen Feng had already felt the vitality of heaven and earth, at this moment, the vitality of heaven and earth began to gather in his danshan. The whole person has become full of spiritual energy, and he has already developed towards the Neiwan realm. This is the first person in the whole school so far. Yu reading www.yuyuganshu.com. Qi and blood of the 9th rank has a strength standard of 900 kilograms, and now he may also have this standard. It's just that it has already begun to absorb the vitality, and the strength after that, as the vitality gathers. Once the vitality is really absorbed, the danshan will form a haze of vitality, and with the source, it will be separated from the blood realm. After awakening the martial spirit, my spirit became sharper, and I felt the vitality to refine the body. In a short period of time, I completed the process of qi and blood. After being excited, Chen Feng completely calmed down. In one day, he completed a cultivation level that other students could not achieve in several years. 1,000 miles a day. He knows what this means. He is now the first genius of Zhangzhou school. If the news spreads, he will become the object of everyone's attention. Can recommend Wushan University, or Zhangzhou Military Academy. There are more than 100,000 people in the whole school, who completed the Qi and Blood realm at the age of 16. So far, only him. Of course, this does not count as a genius in other regions of the Great Xia Kingdom. Moreover, he began to absorb the vitality of heaven and earth into his body, forming haze spots. After forming this, you can enter the Neiwan realm, and then divide and upgrade the Neiwan, front, middle, back, and perfection realms according to the degree of abundance. But I am also a martial artist. While absorbing the vitality of the world, I also need to nourish my martial soul. The consumption in the later stage will definitely be huge. But it doesn't matter, I can make money. The corners of Chen Feng's mouth showed a faint arc. He looked at the time, it was getting late, and he began to rush to school. Before, he needed to run wild for half an hour, now, in 10 minutes, he arrives at school. So fast! The students on the side of the road all showed surprise when they saw a figure passing by, like the wind. After arriving at the school, Chen Feng also made an astonishing discovery. He used to be tired. Even if he took a day off, he would wake up in the morning with backache and pain. Now he has been cultivating intensively for several hours, and he recovered the next day, and his spirit is very good. There is no fatigue. The Bodhi tree seems to have a strong effect on the recovery of spiritual power. Ordinary people may not be able to recover from the high-intensity training today. Chen Feng just slept and was full of energy. Today's state is completely different from the previous days. His strength has improved a lot. After entering the school, he heard a lot of people talking. Most of them are about people who awakened their martial souls yesterday. Some awakened very ordinary ones. Of course, Zhang Shiran is a genius, and many people talked about her. Also, it was Chen Feng, and what they talked about the most was about the improvement of the cultivation base after the martial artist returned. The speed of ordinary people's cultivation and genius cultivation is different. The progress of cultivation after awakening is something that many people pay attention to. Chen Feng was also more interested in these, so he stopped to listen. Among the people who awakened their martial souls yesterday, I heard that some people have reached the 5th stage of Qi and Blood. So fast? We usually only have 2 or 3 dans. Awakening the martial arts will directly reach the 5th dan? Nima, it's really more popular than people. I am only 3 dan now, and they have started their martial arts directly to the 5th dan. Well, martial spirits also have the effect of improving one's cultivation. Others have them, but we don't. Speaking of awakening martial spirits, they are already very powerful. Of course, those ordinary martial arts are not counted. Who would have thought that in just one day, there are awakened people who have continuously improved their cultivation by 2 stages. You must know that a period of cultivation may take 2 months or even longer for ordinary students. This is still good. I heard that Zhang Shiran, who awakened the fire feather divine bird yesterday, seems to have risen from the 4th dan to the 7th dan. This is even more scary. Impossible. Even if she is a genius, no matter how fast she is, she will not be able to improve to 3 dans. This is absolutely impossible. Some were firmly opposed. They know that in the qi and blood stage, it is difficult to improve a stage, even if they have money to take medicine, it is not so fast. What's impossible? Martial soul has the function of nourishing the body, especially Zhang Shiran's fire feather divine bird, the flame element is extremely strong. If she feels vitality through martial soul, she will be able to improve herself soon, right? Martial spirit itself contains more vitality than those nutrient solutions. Anyway, I only improve by 1 stage in 3 months, and he improves by 3 stages in 1 day. I don't believe it. This is what Zhang Shiran said, not me. If you don't believe me, I can't help. If you don't believe it, you have to believe it. They are geniuses, not like us. Moreover, I heard that the one from the Handong district has already reached the 8th rank of qi and blood, and has also risen by 3 dan. What? 8 dans of qi and blood? Damn it! Real or fake? At such a young age, he has 8 stages of qi and blood, which is amazing. Is this still a human race? This can be compared with the powerful races outside. Actually, you are ignorant. A student seemed to be quite knowledgeable and said with a smile, in the history of human beings, there were many geniuses who completed the qi and blood realm within a month at a young age. In the final analysis, it still depends on the physique and the person. It's like how some people's bad habits hurt their health, but their health is fine, while some people can't do it after staying up late for a few days. There is no way to do this because of their physical differences. Discussions like this one after another on the way to school. Chen Feng was also amazed in his heart. It seems that not only him, Zhang Shiran, but also Zhang Hua from the eastern district of the Han dynasty are also improving very quickly. Chen Feng believed all these rumors, because he himself had risen from 3rd dan to 9th dan in 1 day, which is a 6th dan. Others can also improve a few paragraphs, he absolutely believes. The human race is very large, and he is not the only genius. At this time, a student next to him who was about the same age as him came over with a smile on his face was darker, he looked more honest, but he liked to laugh more. He patted Chen Feng on the shoulder and said with a smile, "Dude, you are a martial artist." "No." Chen Feng shook his head, not wanting to befriend anyone. "I don't want to be laughed at." "Hey, don't lie to me, I watched it live yesterday. You activated 9 martial spirits yesterday, and they were all trees. You are amazing." After watching Chen Feng leave, the teenager chased after him, his dark face showed white teeth. "My name is Zhang Kun, I also awakened my martial arts yesterday, I wanted to know you, but the awakening process was too tense. Besides, you and I are in the same class, can we be friends?" Chen Feng was taken aback and looked at Zhang Kun. "Hello, my name is Chen Feng." "Hey, you don't need to introduce yourself. Your name is like thunder, I knew it yesterday. By the way, you activated your martial arts yesterday, have you improved your cultivation?" Generally speaking, awakening the martial spirit is helpful to one's physique. I practiced a bit yesterday, but I didn't feel that it helped me a lot, so I improved by 1 stage. Looking at other geniuses, it's several stages. I am now at the 3rd stage of qi and blood. Zhang Kun shook his head, "How many stages have you improved?" 6th paragraph. Chen Feng said, he knew that no one would believe it. "Ah? How many paragraphs did you have before?" 3 sections. Then you are now, qi and blood, 9th dan. Zhang Kun was a little stunned. Yu reading www.yuyugonshu.com then laughed, "You lied to me." Chen Feng rolled his eyes, "Telling a lie, you say I lied to you, if you tell the truth, you also say I lied to you? Alas, these days, people are so difficult to get along with." At this moment, a woman with curly hair and delicate facial features walked over from the side. After the woman passed by, Zhang Kun looked at her back and was very excited. She is Zhang Shiran, who has awakened the fire feather divine bird. Now she has 7th stage of Qi and blood, it's really amazing. This kind of genius has also been promoted to the 7th Dan, and you have reached the 9th Dan in one day. Are you better than Zhang Shiran? He he. Zhang Kun smiled. Chen Feng smiled. The more people who don't believe it, the less trouble there will be. He is quite happy to see this situation. He didn't want to explain anything either. After chatting for a while, the two of them went to the classroom. Chen Feng and Zhang Kun both found a seat and sat down, waiting for the teacher to teach. Not long after, the class bell rang, and the teacher came. Is a male teacher. I will be your teacher from now on. My name is Wei Zheng. You can come to me with anything in the future. Hello teacher. Many students were excited. Chen Feng also wrote down the teacher's name. This teacher is kind and always smiling. The first class is the beginning. However, as a martial arts class, the first class is not about martial arts, but about the realm of all races. In the past, I used to read some materials in the school's books. No teacher has said much about this, because they are all students and have little cultivation. There are not many books on this aspect of school records. Now that the teacher is explaining about the division of realm, Chen Feng is very interested. Because, in addition to knowing more about this information, he has to start to choose a new exercise. This is very important to him right now. At this time, the teacher said, in the human race, Qi and blood, Naun, magnetic field, etc., are the stages that your current students can touch. This is the realm of majoring in the body. Those who cultivate martial arts can also be classified according to this strength standard. Let me first tell you about Qi and blood. Everyone has a body, and the body is the foundation of strength. Without a body, there is nothing else. At the stage of Qi and blood, physical fitness can be enhanced through physical exercise. Powerful races do not need to go through this process, they are naturally powerful. Naun, begin to absorb the vitality of heaven and earth, and condense a haze in the danshan. Once the haze is born, it will form the source, the vitality will not be exhausted, and it will expand to the whole body and limbs, then you will have the power that others do not have. The body is a powerful weapon. Teacher, what about the magnetic field? A classmate asked. Teacher Wei Zheng smiled, when the whole body is filled with the vitality of heaven and earth, the haze in the danshan has become extremely terrifying, forming a strong energy field. Different people cultivate different attributes, and different magnetic fields will be born. For those who major in martial soul, the magnetic field comes from martial soul. For example, our teacher Su Bing, who awakened your martial soul yesterday, is a magnetic field master. Her own martial soul is an ice silkworm, exuding aura that is extremely cold. Zhang Kun, teacher, when we woke up last time, why didn't we feel Mr. Su Bing's cold magnetic field? Wei Zheng smiled and said, you didn't feel the cold breath, that was suppressed by teacher Su Bing, for fear of hurting you. In fact, Mr. Su Bing can make a radius of dozens of meters fall into the ice, even in midsummer, can instantly bring the surrounding temperature to below zero, thereby limiting the strength of the enemy and suppressing it. If she showed it in front of you, you might all shiver with cold, and your body would be stiff. There is no problem for such a spirit warrior to do everything in his power to instantly freeze an ordinary person to death. Wow, teacher Su Bing, he's so strong. When I woke up last time, I could feel it, it was very strong. The students are full of yearning and want to be strong. All of you here are martial arts practitioners, and you can cultivate a little faster than ordinary people, but don't underestimate those who don't have martial arts. Some are born with strong physiques, and they are not inferior to martial arts practitioners. In short, you haven't gone to college yet. If you can reach the 9th dan of Qi and blood after graduating from college, you will be the elite among ordinary people. If you can reach the early Neiwan period after graduation, then you will be the leaders of the younger generation. Also, as martial arts practitioners, since you have activated your martial arts, you will face a choice. 1. Majoring in the body, and 1. Majoring in the martial arts. Major in the body is to train one's own body, so that the vitality of heaven and earth can be tempered, and one's body can be strengthened. If you major in martial arts, everyone must know that martial spirit resides in the body, and even if it is destroyed in battle, it will be reborn in the host's body. The host does not die, and the spirit will never die. Therefore, Daxia's spirit army is the most fierce and not afraid of death on the battlefield, and the above attaches great importance to it. I heard the teacher say this. Many students are excited. Who doesn't want to be the most fierce and fearless Legion member on the battlefield, beheading enemies, beheading aliens, and making contributions to the country? Teacher, I choose to major in martial arts. Some students expressed their thoughts. Others also agreed. Teacher Wei Zheng shook his head. The reason why I say it all is to point out the relationship, so that you can think clearly. I naturally hope that everyone majors in martial arts, but... The teacher changed the subject and looked at a corner. Not everyone is suitable for majoring in martial arts. For example, some people have awakened a martial spirit that is supportive and has no lethal power. When such a martial spirit enters the battlefield, life-saving is a problem. I wipe. Feeling the intentional or unintentional gaze of the teacher, Chen Feng knew that he was lying on the gun, and the teacher was obviously talking about himself. In Wei Zheng's opinion, Chen Feng has awakened 9 auxiliary spirits, and he will die quickly on the battlefield. He said this for the good of those students who awakened auxiliary spirits, so as not to miss their own future in life. Chen Feng is a representative of the auxiliary martial arts, and there are many other students who cannot major. However, his reputation is too great, so when it comes to this, many people will look at Chen Feng unintentionally. After these people heard it, they all calmed down. Next, Wei Zheng explained a lot of basic information to the students. Most of them were familiar to Chen Feng, but the teacher explained it in more detail. In the dark, Chen Feng summoned his martial spirit, but he didn't summon it, he just communicated. Listening in this state, Chen Feng was able to understand many details. He believed that he was not far from Neiwan. After the teacher's class is over, the rest is for the students to cultivate on their own. After the teacher left, Chen Feng followed. Wei Zheng noticed Chen Feng behind him, turned around and said with a smile, "Chen Feng, what's the matter with you?" Chen Feng nodded and said, "Teacher, I want to ask a question about summoning the second spirit." Wei Zheng was stunned for a moment, then smiled and said, "It's very simple. When your strength improves and your spirit power increases, you can naturally summon a second spirit." Teacher, how can I increase my soul power? This is not difficult. The summoning of the martial soul requires the soul power deep in the mind of the martial soul. Whether it is to improve one's own body or to enhance the martial soul, both can enhance the soul power, and then you can communicate with your second martial soul. Already. Wei Zheng, by the way, are you going to cultivate martial arts, or are you yourself? Although you are an auxiliary martial spirit, you have 9 martial spirits, which are quite special. However, according to my suggestion, it is better for you to major in your own body. Your auxiliary spirit, after entering the battlefield, can cast entanglement, spikes, poison, etc., but it does not have strong attack power of beasts or weapons, and it is also very dangerous for you. When you go to the battlefield in the future, you will know that those powerhouses, or creatures from other races, their methods are much more powerful than the 9 martial spirits you possess. If you cultivate your body, you can save your life on the battlefield. On the battlefield, survival is the most important thing. Chen Feng nodded, knowing that teacher Wei Zheng's words were for his sake, which was reasonable. If he allows himself to cultivate martial arts, then he doesn't care about the life and death of the students. However, the teacher didn't know that Chen Feng possessed a very terrifying spirit, a god-level spirit, so how could it be comparable to ordinary martial spirits? Moreover, he now knows that as long as he cultivates his martial spirit, he can summon more martial spirits behind him. At that time, his strength will only be stronger. Teacher, I want the two to practice together. Chen Feng said. Teacher Wei Zheng looked at Chen Feng in front of him and was stunned. Mr. Wei Zheng became serious. He originally wanted to comfort Chen Feng, but now that he saw that Chen Feng had such thoughts, he said, "No one can guarantee that you will reach the end of martial arts cultivation. It is already a lot of hard work to cultivate one kind. You are distracted and cultivate 2 kinds. Do you know the consequences of this? In this way, you will not be able to cultivate at all. You will neither have a strong body nor a strong martial spirit. In the end, you can only watch others surpass you one by one. Do you understand? Teacher, as a past person, I have seen too many people like this. When they regret it, the people around them have surpassed them by a large margin. After I tell you this, do you still want double cultivation? Well, I want to try it." Teacher Wei Zheng almost vomited blood. Feelings are all in vain. You dare to try, this is courage. I also know that you have awakened 9 martial spirits, which are unique in the history of the human race. You are not willing to be ordinary, but as a teacher, I still hope you give up this idea. Wei Zheng continued, cultivation of 1, the treasures of heaven and earth that you need are already unimaginable, and you may not be able to gather all of them in a lifetime. You cultivate 2 kinds of resources, that is, double the resources. Resources are difficult to obtain. The conditions of your family are not very good. Do you want to continue to try? Also, you are about to go to university. You try to cultivate in 2 ways during this period. If you can't grow up and fail to meet the university's admission threshold, you will go to the battlefield and serve a year of military service. At that time, your high school education and going to the battlefield were all marginal tasks. You reading www.uuganshu.com but may never come back. In the Great Xia country, those who did not go to university would have a year of military service. Of course, it was not entirely a death sentence. They used to do some logistical work. Even so, if the enemy attacked, they would not be able to take care of it at that time, and they might die. No matter how you analyze it, Mr. Wei Zheng is right. Wei Zheng believed that with his eloquence, he would be able to dispel Chen Feng's wrong idea. Now, do you want to cultivate together? Chen Feng nodded seriously. Well, I still want to practice together. I want to give it a try. Poof. Teacher Wei Zheng had a black line on his forehead. Chen Feng knew that what the teacher said was right, but he didn't know about his own situation. He had the Bodhi tree, and his comprehension was higher than ordinary people. Secondly, his spirit was gradually strengthening, and now he could feel the vitality of heaven and earth. If he cultivates and communicates with the martial spirit behind him, he believes that when he is strong, he will be able to obtain resources. Moreover, his strength will only be stronger in double cultivation. Taking a step back, even if he finds something wrong, he can turn back in time. Anyway, his current strength is enough to go to a good university. Even if it is Wushan University, he can go to it. Still the guarantee. Chen Feng knew about his situation, so it wouldn't have any impact. Ugh! Teacher Wei Zheng shook his head, feeling that this young man is very stubborn. the kind who doesn't turn back if he doesn't hit the south wall. Since that's the case, he has nothing to say, but he was surprised and suddenly found that the student in front of him seemed to have energy and blood. Unusual? Wei Zheng said in surprise, I feel that the qi and blood in your body seems to be higher than that of ordinary students. Could it be that, after you activated your martial arts, you improved your cultivation? How many stages of qi and blood are you now?